Doug Adams here from the Run DNA podcast, and I'm excited for this episode to talk about if running is enough to be considered fit. Running specialists are probably going to love this episode, and some runners might too, but this might actually be some tough love for a lot of our runners out there. So I'm going to start by going into a bit of a bold statement and then explain why I'm making this bold statement. Running alone does not make you fit. I'm going to share my personal story around this and explain a little bit more why I have this opinion. Because don't get me wrong, I love running. Running is an essential part of a fitness plan, but it is not enough by itself to be considered fit. So my personal story around this is when I was training for a marathon one time, I had a great long run. I did 20 miles and I averaged about 650 pace for it. My heart rate was in the mid to high 130s, felt very comfortable, really was in great running shape at that time. So I did this. And then 2 or 3 days later, I had to run to Home Depot to get some things. And there's just ever so slight of a hill from the checkout in Home Depot going up into the parking lot where my car was parked. And I started pushing some bags of mulch in the cart, and I was struggling to get up that little hill. And I thought to myself, wow, I thought I was in great shape where I just ran a nice, fast, long run and it felt nice and easy and I was good. And I can't even push this cart up a slight hill. And I realized that maybe running alone is not exactly a complete fitness plan here. So another way of talking about this statement is, should you be fit to run or run to be fit? And this goes into a lot of topics that people commonly talk about cross training and variety of exercises and all those other things that we always like to talk about as well. So don't get me wrong, running is a great form of exercise. There are huge cardiovascular benefits. And I think our VO2 max, our aerobic performance even, is actually one of the biggest predictors of all-cause mortality. So having good aerobic fitness is a key part of an overall health program. Not the only part, but a key part here. And running is one of the best ways that we really can get that cardiovascular fitness. And we should look at, if we're not doing running, some way that we can get consistent, long exposure to these activities that will improve our cardiovascular fitness. Running is also a super drug that helps lots of other things, from stress, mental health, or sleep, weight loss. And there are so many benefits to running that I think that it really is something I think everyone should run. I think if every person ran even a mile a few times a week, I think we could solve a lot of our health, mental and stress problems as well. But I realize not everyone's going to, but I think it's, for those of you listening, you're more likely a runner or somebody that participates in running. And I think that we have to expand and think that it can't be the only thing that we do. And there's some reasons for this, that we have to acknowledge that running has a lot of benefits, but there's also some limitations. So at age 35, we start losing muscle mass at a pretty alarming rate. And an important concept about running is that running does not increase strength. If you start a running program and you test your leg strength at the beginning of a running program, and then you test it at the end of a running program, your legs will be no stronger. They might be much more efficient and you might be able to run faster or further. But if you're only doing running during that program, your legs will not get any stronger. And that's a big concept for a lot of runners that really come to terms with, because they think, oh, my legs are skinny and look good and I've got good definition, I must have strong legs. And that's not the case at all. Running does not increase strength. We also lose bone mass as we age, and running does not increase bone mass. Running is kind of boring to bones, where it doesn't stimulate increased bone density there. That is important from our early days when we're developing our bones too, as we age and we start to lose bone mass there. So we need to incorporate other aspects of fitness, such as strength, nutrition, jumping, cutting activities. All of those things have other benefits that help us have a more holistic view of what fitness and health really look like. So I want you to expand your horizons and think about, as a runner, should I be running to be fit or should I be fit to run? Because I consider running to be a very athletic endeavor. I think it is something that takes a lot of coordination. It does take strength, and it does take flexibility and coordination. And it's hard to. I get a lot of opposition to this, but I think it's harder to learn to run appropriately than to hit a golf ball. And I think it's more of a skilled activity to work with good running form than it is to do golfing. So, golfers and runners out there, you can throw shade at me if you want, but running is a skilled activity, and we need to treat it that way. And we should be fit in other aspects to participate in it. Just like a football player lifts weights, a golfer does weight training as well. We need to be looking at those things and making that part of our plan. So there's numerous studies out there that support what we're talking about, and even shown that running economy, which is a big predictor of our performance, improves with things like strength training. So there's studies also that I have quoted many times about the benefits of cross training. There was one particular where they looked at a group of 10K runners that were all right around 40 minutes or so. And it's been a couple of years since I've read the article. So take the numbers with a slight grain of salt here. But basically, they took these 10K runners and they had half of them do an extra hour of running, and then the other half do an extra hour of cycling. And then they all, after completing a training program, did another 10K and saw what the performance was like. As you would expect, both groups got faster, but the extra hour of running group went from 40 minutes to around low 39. So still an improvement and good. But the group that did the cycling was closer to 37 minutes. And that's a much bigger improvement and a whole different time. You're going to place a lot higher in a 10K running in the 37s versus running in 39s for that. So hopefully you can see that there is a lot of opportunity to benefit your running and improve your running performance. But running performance and overall fitness and overall health are not synonymous. And we need to be looking at other ways that we can participate. Even if that's starting simple with and replacing one of your easy runs with biking, or getting in 2 10 to 15 minute strength sessions in a week. There's some minimum things that we can do that really do have a big emphasis on how they can help expand our running performance as well. So when you're training for a big race, there does need to be more specialization and focus on the sport. And we're going to see that some of our most elite runners might lack some of this diversity in their fitness and health. And that's okay for a short term, but it's borrowed time. When you are doing this, you are sacrificing health for that. And I would say that if you see a marathon runner cross the line and they get a sub 3-hour marathon, but then they're limping for a bit and they're getting colds and they're susceptible to that and they're struggling to push a cart up in Home Depot, that maybe that isn't the epitome of health and fitness, and we should take a little bit more of a holistic stance. So just try and expand people's minds. I would love to hear people's thoughts, and please challenge me in the comments here. Running is a great part of fitness, but it is not a fitness program by itself. And I believe that we should be fit to run and expand our horizons by participating in cross-training and participating in strength training, focusing on our nutrition, focusing even on our mental health, and that is going to help us enjoy participating in running even to a higher degree. So thanks for listening, and happy running.
Like what you hear? Leave a review of the show wherever you listen, and don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Run DNA helps runners and running specialists through education and technology to identify each runner's unique injury profile to avoid setbacks and maximize results. The Run DNA podcast is produced by Ace Running LLC. The Run DNA podcast is intended for educational purposes only. No clinical decision-making should be based solely on one source. While care is taken to ensure accuracy, factual errors can occur. Always seek the guidance of qualified medical professionals before making healthcare decisions. Find us online at rundna.com.